their future in terms of agent comp, especially if they're playing around with their players. But this is a team like TSM that they've had a lot of time to scrim, and it seems as if this is a very calculated approach, that they've thought about this in the past where they're just like, all right, haste, potentially going back in the brimstone might be what we need to really solidify things for our roster. And folks, we are heading in finally into map number 1 between Team Solo Mid and Dignitas live on Bind. And well, at this point, we have TSM at least in a 3-2 split between A and B. And not only that, but Dignitas holding up real strong over towards the hookah area. An early rotation coming out from Teleporter. Subrosa and Drone here to try to help out. Cutler also here with a wide swing. Ra still up in middle. And Drone is essentially just delaying so much time in this position while Dignitas is getting whittled down to 2. Same thing with TSM, an early 2v2.
Wardell making a fast rotation. Like you said, Drone sitting up. Oh, he's won that fight. He has to win that fight. 1 HP on the lad, though, is Def. He's now in. Now we talk about a 2v2. It's a 1v2 here. Def in a very tricky predicament. They don't know where the spike is, though. And that's the biggest thing so far here for TSM. Dignitas. Def can be easily able to grab this spike. No contest whatsoever. And these rotations, well, they're going to take some time. But TSM starting to get a move on. Trying to feel out the map right now. Def, he has one almost free kill onto Drone, but then you go down to Wardell. How do they play their cards right? It's going to be about sticking together and playing as one. Left. And Wardell with the Sheriff as well. 6 shots. I mean, all the opportunities are here for Def. The spike will go down, but the post-plant position, he can't fall back to short. He's got to try and get aggressive into spawn now.
There's going to be nobody rotating from that position. If anything, it's going to be a hard retake of this position that he already has a camera on too. So he has his bases covered a little bit, and indeed he does. Not going to be able to ping out anything, but it's still that information that he so desperately needed. Double U-Haul, and Def is here.
This is huge.
Going to be able to get one. Wardell around the corner, misses out both players. Now Def around the corner. Gets himself the kill. The 2v1 for the Cypher legend. And Dignitas have a 1-0 lead.
Huge play from Def. I mean, it's the fact that Wardell is stuck on a Sheriff. You can't, it takes 2 shots, and those are both going to take half a second between, and Def abuses that fact, and he takes the kill for himself. A very difficult round for TSM, despite being in that man advantage. I mean, you've got one player on low HP, and then Wardell behind him. It's such a struggle round, but they will force up here. They're going to try and battle back with whatever they can. 3 Stingers and a Sheriff to battle back against Dignitas, who themselves have a very similar buy, minus a Spectre and that Bulldog they've ended up buying up here. TSM, this is still going to be a hot round from them. Despite having double controllers, only 1 smoke has been dropped so far, as already Subrosa getting aggressive down towards showers. It's Dignitas that are playing a slow default with Def being that backdoor exit, and Wardell, he's got so much information. There are 3 players here, Gus, and they are waiting inside of hookah.
2 players in hookah, hazed outside on site. It's a little bit long range for the Stinger, but who knows what he could pull off at this point. You pull out that ADS, you pull out the burst, easy peasy stuff. But Dignitas looking to explode. They have all that information though, Sully. Like you mentioned, the hard rotations coming in. Wardell really just trying to find any sort of lurker over toward the bathroom position, or if Dignitas is going to be able to rotate on out. But instead, they're fully committing to it. Ryan's actually going to be able to get the kill over onto that Molly. Sam is just rushing through. Are you kidding me? Ra still able to get the second off of that Bulldog. Drone is still laying around, and they have no clue that he's here in hookah. Just waiting for that smoke to dissipate, but the brim smoke, the longest in this game. But Wardell, hello, coming all the way from the A site, able to get himself 2, but Drone still remaining over in hookah, waiting for any sort of drop. He's gonna make the noise first, has to get the kill into Ra, but a massive round for the man as he gets himself a 4K, clears up backside, and gives Dignitas a second.
Yeah, early shotting from Ra as well to kick it off. 6 kills in 2 rounds, massive 4K, and TSM fully reset here, but it isn't without cost to Dignitas. 3 players go down. Those are heavy reinvestments to be made, and TSM, Wardell's only 1 charge off of this Blade Storm. If he can get 1 kill or even get an ult orb in this case, it could definitely at least put a lot of fear into the hearts of Dignitas. With Wardell on that Blade Storm, he can do so much damage, but it's majority Sheriffs and 1 Frenzy here from Drone, as he himself now selling and going back to the Sheriff. A 5 Sheriff round. And Dignitas, they know that TSM are definitely a little bit menacing, but Subrosa going down early. It's Wardell that now has to pivot between 2 angles. He hasn't been spotted just yet, but now they know where he is. He's going to dash away, try and stick with his team, and in a 4v5, nothing to lose here for TSM. It's all about getting exits here.
So instead of you have to retake, you still have some. Waiting over in U-Haul is essentially going to be that first contact, but it's actually Drone with an early kill onto Def. That's a massive position being exposed. There's nobody else over towards Bathroom. It's all going to be over towards U-Haul for Dignitas to try to hold things down. Triple coverage, quadruple coverage in that one area. Diffuse is going down, but they're just trying to hold things up with the stimmy. Brimmy with the stimmy. He gets himself at least one back. Rara helps himself to not only an Empress, but with the stimmy at the end of things, makes things a whole lot faster. That Bulldog turns into a Vandal and then some. Dignitas, they get themselves a third round, and now TSM, they have a buyback.
Quick round, huge shots, and like you said, quadruple coverage. I mean, Rara just sitting behind him. I wonder how fast the Bulldog is going to get when you've got a combat stim and the Empress on him. You know, just something maybe that someone wants to do some research on. Who knows? But TSM, you're 100% right. Back with a buy. Wardell's got the operator, and that should at least instill a little more confidence here for TSM as free ult orb here for Drone. You will get the run it back online now. And TSM, they're sitting on 3. Hunter Fury to play the post plant, and Drone and Hayes taking early fights. It's already one here for Hayes as he sends a molly straight on into Hookah. It'll force Solon back just a little bit, but it lands in the back corner where Drone will try and contest that.
Interesting stuff because Hazed, he was the one that wanted that first contact over into Hookah, and again, he's the controller, but it doesn't matter. Drone was actually there to cover up the second contact. Raw right now just trying to burst on in. He gets himself two. This is what duelists are for, folks. Able to take control and able to make space for his team early on, but now TSM, they have full control of the spike still over towards the Hookah area, but Rara again. Third kill for Rara. Wardell is away, but that smoke surely about to dissipate, and Wardell could definitely pop off. Not only that, but he has the knives ready and raring to go. Still very much wary of the flank in. Ryan needs this kill. Not going to be able to find it. Now it's a 2-on-2. Sabrosa and Wardell.
Cage triggered.
Still with a little bit of control, but not exactly of the spike anymore. 30 seconds left. Sabrosa still in long. Wardell back in their spawn.
Left.
Dignitas still has more than enough time to really just decide where they even want to go, but Sabrosa's watching the cross, and Def gets it.
Exactly
Shoulder peeks in, and now it's time for Wardell to step up to the plate. They know exactly where he is. His back exposed, not going to take anything yet. Yeah, if he can get this first frag and the knives comes out, there's hard potential for him to win this one back, but Def gets the final kill in TSM with a whole lot of firepower. The bonus, and ends up succeeding for Dignitas. They take up a big lead here.
Yeah, it's not even anything that Dignitas did particularly insane. It's the fact that Rara finds 3 here. The first on the Haze is understandable, but the second, and then to get a third kill as well. Rara has definitely been an X factor here for Dignitas in these first 4 rounds. Already racking up 12 kills and only a single death from the pistol round. Dude is popping off, but now TSM, that heavy investment comes back to bite them. They'll be on a light buy here. Not a lot of expectations. As combat stim goes out, shock dart to try and force them back. Cutler, who used that early Hunter Fury, will have nothing here to hold him back, at least out towards long. But blades out for Wardell. I think that's what he was banking on. The odds of a 2v1 with an op are extremely low, especially without that first frag. So now he's got a Blade Storm here, and he knows at least where one's going to be, but can he find the head properly onto Def? He's around the corner. Wardell, all knives expended, and not a single one connects. Dignitas baited out, and now they can push with confidence if they want, but they are slowing things down, and TSM on their toes with rotations being made.
Still very much slow because TSM, they just don't have any information. Dignitas laying around more or less their back lines, especially with a player over towards Bathroom that could be able to at least get that first contact in. And indeed, that's what Som is here for.
Oh, Drone.
Drone around the corner, though. Good usage of the Stinger up close and personal. Sabrosa in the smoke. He wants to explode through, but he gets stuck into U-Haul, and Dignitas is still fighting this. Maka gonna be able to get the kill after. So now a 4-on-4 with TSM going for a full retake scenario, but still 2 players in the back lines, and Rara ends up catching another one. The molly doesn't matter though. Rara is just trying to get as much info as possible, but Hazed, what a shot! Drone takes one back too. 2v3. Ryan has to watch out though. Lone man in U-Haul. There's one person in shorts just to try to cover it up. They take up U-Haul control right as Ryan goes away. Such unfortunate timing. They're running back for Drone. Makes his way in. Maka can get the kill. And TSM, the overwhelm at the end of things, as now Dignitas, they get left scratching their heads.
Huge play as well from Drone. You see them sitting behind that triple or Tetris box. They hold things down. They don't allow Dignitas to push them back. They understand the pressure that they're trying to create. And TSM, they bite back. No chance there for Dignitas to push into the back lines. And TSM locking things down on the eke around of all things when Wardell with no Blade Storm. Huge shot from Hayes there. And then Ryan with the such unlucky timing, expecting to run it back to cut him around on that APC. But it comes behind him and backstabs. And TSM, a huge pickup to at least shut down or slow down the momentum that Dignitas are building. Now they've got a bonus here essentially, as picking up 3 rifles, only 2 have to reinvest now, and Dignitas full buyback here as Wardell, he wants revenge. He couldn't get off the Blade Storm. Well, he might get it here with the Vandal, but Def does end up evading him. Dignitas, heavy presence towards this A side, and TSM running their same default. 3 players on B, just checking to see if anyone's there. With no Sentinel, they need to have a very keen eye at these extremities, ensure that no one can just walk on through to them. So that's what they're doing already. They're starting to jostle positions already now, Gus. Rotation being made, and Dignitas are reading into it, and they're going back to this B site where only 2 players await them.
It's just good patience in a sense. No matter how much early noise is being made, they still maintain at least one player as the anchor. That was Cutler a little bit early on in the last round. That still kept things very strong in that area. But not only with the spike being exposed in that one area, Maka now with the Hunter's Fury does tack up some of his teammates too. But ooh, the orbital strike in Hookah. That forces Def just to run on out, and Hayes gets one back, but Psalm actually with a double. Gets traded back by Cutler. He has to run on out. The orbital strike in a beautiful position, but he's still going to go down to the bullets of Ryan. 3v2. Sabrosa is just running on out. What a snap. Rara ends up going for the dismiss. Maka playing around the body of Wardell. At the end, things got a little bit chaotic, but it was organized chaos. Dignitas, they're the ones to win things out, exposing the back positions of TSM's players.
A huge play there as well from Dignitas to retake long. It's TSM, or at least Hayes, who made that early rotation and forced at least Cutler and both Drone to concede the extremities a little early, right? They can't necessarily look down towards long, get that early information, and so they take the gamble with that Brimstone ultimate. They send it in Hookah to clear that position out. It gives them 1 kill, but nothing else. Now TSM, thankfully, because that last round was 3 guns gifted by Dignitas, they can have at least a decent buy here. Wardell has to salvage here with a Bucky. But an early fight possibly with Sabrosa. He's been trying to hold this one down, but without that Boomba, seems a little bit discombobulated in Sabrosa. It's Wardell with 1 off of this Bucky here, and Sabrosa could get 1 down towards Showers. Wardell packing on a whole lot of damage on the 2 players, and Sabrosa finding another back. He's got control of Showers. While Dignitas have the sight, they are not comfortable one bit about it.
Ooh, rah. He's gonna fall to the shoulder peak of Sabrosa. There goes the rounds. Again, the earlier approach from Dignitas ended up getting exposed by the early contacts of TSM, and that's really what they've been working forward to, really, in all of these rounds in terms of their A setup. They just haven't been able to get the early contact in or just the early entry frags. So just a little bit of a change here as Dignitas, they get caught off scattered by the end of things.
With a very light buy. It's going to leave them definitely a little scattered economically. So Rara dropping Psalm over the Phantom, puts him on 400 credits. TSM, no ults really nearing completion, I'd say. At least more important one for Cutler, only 2 charges off. Could contest this ult over, it could be Drone. Whichever one of them wants to grab it. Blazewall is sure to go up here, and Dignitas, or how are they going to go about this round? Sabrosa has been very key and very pivotal out towards Showers. He's always looking for early fights, but this time he's gunned down by 2. It's not Psalm, instead it's Ryan from downtown. Able to find a wall bang. And TSM, they lose control almost instantaneously. Now TSM, they have to try and get aggressive elsewhere. They're playing a 2-2 split with Hayes making an early rotation. Cutler not able to get much down towards long, and Wardell sitting tight on this A site, leaving Dignitas with plenty of opportunities to make rotations. They're gambling on the fact that they drew rotations back to A, and well, it's the right gamble. There's only 2 players here, and they're both in very disconnected positions. Only Cutler able to provide support towards Hookah, and Dignitas with smokes going down here finally by Hayes. Things are amping up here, and Dignitas are just waiting for the perfect moment now.
Here we go. Cutler on the front line. Gets the lineup. Able to get two. Still trades back from Ryan and Rara. Hayes in the back line. Good spray transfer getting both. Rara tried to get the trade back, but it doesn't work out in his favor. Now Ryan left in a 1v2. Going to be able to get at least one back. Wardell always takes his time over towards the A site just to try to lock things down in terms of lurkers. And he takes his time, and now he's in hookah. No noise being made at all. Now it just comes down to the noise being made with the orbital strike, and he puts the ulti in the complete wrong way. Oh, he has no idea, but Wardell makes some noise. But Ryan still not able to get the frag back in the end. Yeah, no clue. Zero clue. He thought it was safe from the orbital, but Wardell was there at a perfect time. Still able to get the frag back. That's TSM with a third round. But boy, that got intense for a second there. TSM, they needed 2 lineups to get that round back.
Yeah, huge spray transfer from Hayes. Him and Cutler popping off in the back lines, locking it down. I said they were kind of disconnected between the two of them, but they hold it back. They keep Dignitas from getting onto the site, and that orbital strike, very, very untimely as Wardell able to recognize the fact that he thinks he's in spawn, dashing on out to catch him off guard. It's Dignitas now with an early 5-1 lead, not conceded to 5-3. TSM back on their high horse, putting a whole lot of pressure now. The smokes drop to control these extremities. Sabrosa no longer contesting towards showers. Dignitas with a light by, no funny business now, no defaults. They're going to group back up for this A-site hit where Wardell is waiting with a Vandal for them to approach Sabrosa with the crossfire. And Dignitas, are they ready for it? Cages go up, one goes down, Wardell on top, dashing on away, puts him now in a 5v3.
Here we go, Rara. Ooh, nasty from Rara as he gets 2. Just like that, he equalizes the round back in the hands of Dignitas. Their post-plant positions shouldn't be exposed all too early. No one from TSM approaching from either short or bathroom. Now it's just going to be down to Dignitas to see how they can hold down this back area, especially with the util that they seldom have. Here comes Rara, front line. He had his crosshair in the right place, just needed to press mouse 1, but still nothing of the sword. Death in such a rough position. The molly brings him out too. 1 player remaining now in a 1v3. Ryan, what a molly setup. That's still going to take the spike down to half.
You can't clutch.
I still anticipate person in bathroom, and there you go. That's the information. Ryan, he had everything in his view. That was just a good setup in the end there. Trying to make it easy for him.
Yeah. All he needed was that 1 kill. He could have definitely put, or at least ticked off a little extra time. Beautiful. I love that molly as well. Bounces once, and TSM are looking at it like, well, can we get this to half at least? They do end up getting to half, so I think that's what in the end ended up saving them. TSM 4-5, bringing things now with only just 1. 4 ults charged up. Wardell back on the operator, and Drone's only 1 charge of his ultimate, so he's sure to try and fight early. And it looks like Dignitas, they're going to try and contest this as well. They don't want him to get that ult orb. Shock Dart to try and deny him here. And Dignitas looking for an early fight. It should be the ult orb here as a Shock Dart. I don't think came in a timely enough manner, but he does take so much damage. And what's the trade-off? Drone would have got it regardless if he hadn't gone for the ult orb anyway, but he goes down, and Dignitas read that perfectly.
Again, always got to check your corners. Always got to be ready no matter what. Those owl drones, bro, those were... they were about to hug or something like that. It's one brother against another, but really from different sides is now TSM. Did get a little bit of information that players were over towards long, but Dignitas, they don't fall to the Hunter's Fury at all. Instead of going for the long approach, they actually paid out 2 players from TSM trying to take control of that area, and in they go over and short. Sabrosa with a good early frag, still has multiple bodies to aim at, and indeed he has the lineup, but Maka gets him back. Wardell in the back has the knives. In we go. 1 player on the corner at an off angle could be able to catch him up, but instead he has to run on away. 3-on-3. There are a couple of flankers too. There's actually 2 over towards the spawn area, but they TP away. Well timed. Right as Wardell gets a kill and U-Haul too. The 2 players that thought that they were just on time to get that flank in on short. Well, it falls a little bit short. In we go now, folks. Wardell still over towards spawn. There's 2 players.
It's got to be one here.
Covering up both the long and hookah area, and this is... he's just delaying time in a sense, just waiting for that smoke to dissipate. Not going to be able to get the kill. Instead, Rara takes one back onto Hayes. Watch out for one over towards long, but oh! Wardell! Sheesh! finish. 2 clean. Gets 2 one-taps with the knives, and that's going to be a 5th round for TSM as they take it all the way back. 4+ rounds in a row.
TSM Wardell, when they need it most, comes up big with a 4-piece. He was at 6 kills, and now he's just leaped up to 10. Huge play from Wardell. Take a quick look. I mean, the patience as well in this position, when you know you're up against the ropes. You're the only player there. You're waiting for that flank. And to sit there, to have the confidence to take these hits, I mean, Wardell doesn't get better than that. That's how you tie things up, ladies and gents. TSM, we're all knotted up here at 5-5. And the confidence flowing through his veins. Dignitas once more on a light buy with stingers and 1 or 2 rifles. But Wardell, he's been on fire. He wants a little bit more. There should be one for him here, but he does end up missing. Ryan from deep takes down Sabroza, but Wardell is quick on that trade.
Wonderful, but he still has a pivot position over towards the short area. That smoke's not going to last all too much, but he got that information onto Ra. That's going to leave Drone to get the kill back. 3v4 now for Dignitas as they are a little bit scattered. It's almost exactly a default for them throughout the map.
Yeah, that owl drone going down as well here for Cutler is going to reveal so much. Maka wasn't actually spotted, so a little bit less information here for TSM, but they should be just fine here. Ryan, not too far away from them, hobbling right behind them. But Cutler, who has all the information in the world, nice recon bolt in, and you even have already Hayes watching towards that angle. He and Cutler have been monsters on this B bomb site, and with Drone making a rotation, there is no cancellation here for Dignitas. Only one player edging out towards long. If he wants to take the TP, it's a huge gamble, but a Hunter Sweary, they're going to try and take this fight, but Cutler goes for the swing. There is no trade backs. He does bail out with the TP, and with a spike down, Gus, with 25 seconds left, it doesn't matter that Cutler took the TP because Drone is already here to keep him up here as Hayes takes down another life. It's Def now who goes down, and Maka 1v3. I don't think this one's possible. Caught out with the bowstring, and TSM have now got the lead.
Last round before the switch.
6 out of the last 7 rounds being taken up by TSM. An explosive start by Dignitas, and indeed even they won out their bonus. Ever since then, we anticipated TSM to really be down and under for the rest of this half, but you can't really count this team out, especially on this map of Bind where they've made it more or less their home. Dignitas, however, going into this round, they do have themselves the full buy, but their util is a little bit more scattered in a sense. They do have to sacrifice armor for util and vice versa. In comes Wardell, such a tight angle. Could have been able to get a shot early on, but he didn't want to get exposed from the, at least from the swing. And he's still going to go for another one. That is insane. Again, so much confidence to actually go for it.
Yeah, Wardell always looking for those early peaks now. He wants to double down. Again, it's Cutler and Hayes towards this B side. Orbital strike goes in. Wardell, he finds the smallest of crooks to try and hide into, and Wardell dashing away before he even gets a second. It's Drone on the run it back. He will be shut down here as Wardell trying to pivot around. One shot in the up, and he needs to find something, but it is a 4v2. TSM off of Wardell's aggression on the operator. His cool, calm, and collectivity to hold them back. It's Dignitas on the back foot, a smoke in their face, but it is just the 2 of them. How can they get about this one? It is going to be extremely difficult. Maka and Ryan to try and give them a 6-6, or TSM to find 7.
I will drone for the info. Dignitas out and away in terms of spots, and Drone is here again. Drone has been such a consistent fragger throughout this half. Nothing too crazy. This guy has been just in the right position at the right time at all times. And Wardell, he's certainly popped off in the last few rounds. A 4K for him, shutting down the A sites. And TSM, they have themselves a 7th going into the second half. Ra, we were mentioning beforehand how this guy can actually pop off, and he certainly has been thus far in his time in Dignitas. 18 kills for him, but Wardell with the chunk of his frags coming in just the last 3 to 4 rounds, but he has 15.
I remember he was at like 6 kills just like 2 or 3 rounds ago, and now he's at the top for TSM. Lights out from in the later parts of that first half. Now, can TSM continue that dignity they held up in the later parts of this first half? Wardell having a plethora of highlights here. A 4K in this one, I think a 4K to end off the last round as well. So Dignitas, they're now in the defensive half. Obviously, expectations are you gotta win the pistol. They've opted to go for again the frenzy meta, sacrificing that utility, and TSM are taking things slow. Double controller means they can fake and fake and fake all they want. Now here comes the push. Solom already takes an early fight. Down goes the first controller as Brimstone for Hayes is gone, and TSM, they finally set their sights here on B, but it's Rara to battle against, and now just Maka as Sabrosa guns them down. 3 versus 3, we're knotted up in terms of manpower, and all players are rotating through spawn.
So Bro's in a good position, but he could just get exposed out from a double swing. Waiting for the interaction to actually go in. There you go. Sabrosa doesn't exactly get the frag he needed. Indeed, now it's going to be the double hold between Hookah and Elbow, and they're... I mean, you hate to see it, honestly. Ryan, just with a wide swing, ends up getting another one. But Cutler, actually, he jumped out with the sole purpose of just taking down the person on the spike. But Ryan was more than ready for a second one. A little bit confusing at the end of things, but it just came down to Dignitas with great post-play control. And if anything, TSM was a little bit looser. Most of the players that were laying around the site ended up, or at least who would be the... I don't really know how to explain it. They're the ones that would initiate the interaction, the initiators, I guess you could say. But TSM, whenever they're down without the players that really like to sit up in the back of spawn, not in the back of spawn, but in the back of sites, they end up losing out on their abilities to control early like they're really used to. Especially what we saw before, I think it was a game in Ascent, where they absolutely off of post plants, they just love to hold either back elbow or at least holding up around 10 can. They had none of that in that round 7.
Nothing at all, and Rara realizing with no control and with the lesser guns, he wants to take an early fight. Him and Maka taking early control there. They do end up losing Sabrosa, but that's the beauty of a double controller, is that they can go back and forth between the sides. They don't necessarily have to stick to just the one. 4v3 now. Spike is maybe a little bit delayed with a Brimstone Molly. I think that actually came a little bit late. The passing of Ryan. Now Solom up close. Stinger against a Spectre, but he still comes out on top. Drone with an instant trade. Drone back with 2, but Maka on this huge flank needs to get something else, and it's Rara right next to him. TSM forced back behind the boxes as they look to dance with the 1v1s, but Rara is looking unstoppable right now. Needs one more. It's Hayes in a 1v1, and Hayes comes up huge to give TSM the second round conversion. They take the 8th, and Dignitas completely shocked after what looked to be a convincing start for them.
Yeah, that was theirs again, TSM. They still had players really around the site. This is really, of course, the first time that they actually wanted to aim down on the A site, but before what we saw in terms of their post plans, in terms of their retakes, they wanted to initiate really quickly. In that case, it was Hayes all in his lonesome, just having to do an individual play. Around the corner, he already knew where the last 2 players were, one in blue box and one over towards U-Haul at least, or at least close over towards Spike. This man just wanted to rush on out, considering the fact that he's a Brim. He has nothing to fight with. Yeah, he has a couple of smokes, no flashes, just has to dry peek, and he does it all for him. Dignitas now. They're playing up with a little bit more aggressive of a take because over towards Teleporter, Som goes a little bit early, and not only that, but no early information on A, but they still go for a fat rotation. Triple essentially here, quadruple off the gamble. And TSM, they still want to fight this. Maka, tin can, ready and raring to go. Same thing with Def. Watching over the cross. Full of hookah control too, as nobody has actually gone towards it, or at least wanting to fully commit. Here comes the cross. There goes the paranoia, but still Rara gets the kill back. Def with a couple of players in his crosshairs. This is just such a tough position for him, but the smoke is going to dissipate at really any second now. He's just waiting for it to pop, and Cutler waiting for the cross in, and he's going to be able to get the kill back. Ryan, the last one remaining in a 1v4, only has a classic to work with. It's TSM not taking on a lot of economic damage at all, and Dignitas going down to 3 as they get themselves a buy and a bonus for TSM.
Nearly flawless for TSM, only losing Wardell, but he's not going to be too worried. I think in this case, Wardell might be looking to just get the Blades throw up early as possible, see what he can get, sticking to the classic so far. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay, there's the force up, dropped over a Vandal. So Dignitas, it's not necessarily a full buy versus a full buy, obviously with the 2 Bulldogs, but it is going to be a heavily contested round. TSM with those 2 Bulldogs, we know how deadly they can be off of a burst. Full push though here for Dignitas. 3 players charging off, 4 players actually charging on out. They leave just Def alone, and TSM with such a passive style have all the information and all the guts now to try this A site. Def alone, and players have to rotate. Two could take the TP, but they're not going to risk that. Instead, they play the retake here. Dignitas, they do have 2 ultimates. Raw Empress and the Showstopper still available for Psalm. How do they go about this one? As there even is a run it back, and down goes Raw Empress. And now it's just one. Psalm with a Showstopper, and all 4 are grouped up towards the spawn, and Drone's looking to take a fight now.
You mentioned the run it back, and he's going right on in, gonna be able to get to his position is still known, but he
Sabrosa
doesn't care. He's still going for a couple of more, and not only that, but Sabrosa on the flank back, gonna be able to get another one for TSM. It's almost flawless for them as they keep going aggressive in the back line. And Sabrosa gets the 5th for the team. Dignitas, they had more than enough chances to make their way back on site, but it was TSM to keep it lockjaw. 10-6 scoreline, and that was their bonus. Dignitas, their reset, and they have to go to a half.
This is such a difficult position. I mean, now you've got this situation where you either save or you at least give a light buy to keep TSM on their toes and possibly convert, because now you've given TSM their 10th. If you save here, it's almost like guaranteed 11, and then it's do or die with that next full buy. So Dignitas, they're going to try and light buy. They need to contest, and once more, it looks like players are getting ready to contest down towards long, but they're reading it. TSM know that Dignitas did this in the last, and there are 4 players here. Who takes the first blow? Already shots being exchanged. Rara not taking anything. What a recon bolt. 3 players revealed, and TSM are like, nah, we're out of here. We know there's only going to be a maximum of 2 on the same site, and in reality, it's just going to be Ryan. But TSM, they're playing the fake game. Smokes dropped. Again, that double controller with 5 smokes available and 1 able to recharge. You can play this long game. They've sent rotations back off of a single play there, and Dignitas are gambling completely on the wrong site now.
It's just what Dignitas have to rely on this point, especially with this type of buy. Or gamble to try to pull off at least holding off the early take, but instead TSM taking their sweet time, especially over towards that B-side approach. And not only that, but Hayes, he's watching over towards the teleport across. We talked about it in our first game, where you're still going to have a singular player looking over in teleport across, still helping out with util, especially with Brim. He can still throw it off from the other side of the map, but I don't think they anticipate this either. Sabrosa in a crossfire. How on earth is that even possible for a crossfire? But it just works out in their favor. One last person remaining, and it's none other than Rara.
Spike planted.
He's got a chance. 1v5, has full utility, 2 Leers to go out as well now, but Drone, there are so many players watching this man. Rara, okay, actually does end up getting one. It was the low HP off of Hayes, however. And TSM, an easy 11th round, swept under the rug. Dignitas, this is their buyback and a chance at least to stay in this first map. TSM knocking on the door of a first map victory. As a 12th round here would almost guarantee them the 13th. Dignitas's buy is going to be so low. The only thing keeping them afloat right now is that max loss bonus. That's the only thing keeping them going right now. But even then, it's not going to be enough to recoup and get the heavy weaponry or get at least the heavy shields that you were hoping for. In Dignitas, they'll take this time for a quick tack pause to really sort out what they need to do, because this is the round that could end up being, like I said, do or die, Gus.
You mentioned the full loss bonus, so I don't really think things should be too I guess you could say the affected off of this round, but still with the fact that Dignitas going into this one with just the all-out buy and potentially just an all-out take, because we're seeing a lot of early pressure. Sully over in Hookah, 3 players trying to go in. Same thing with a double short. TSM, it looks like this round is going to be decided within the first 25 seconds, if anything. Here we go, folks.
Saw him with the blast pack. He's going to go for a showstopper player, 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Here it is. Is Wardell ready, though? Here he comes. Wardell caught.
No! The dash out from Wardell, but in comes the take from Hookah that we mentioned. It's a full mid take from the defenders. TSM, Wardell, and Hayes. All 3 of them getting the frags needed. But Maka still around the corner with the line. I'm going to be able to get 3. 1v1 now for Def. And oh boy, could it happen? Yes, it does! Are you kidding me? We said that this round would be decided within 30 seconds, and it's just fast-paced, high-caliber action that just so happens to go back in the way of Dignitas, and you gotta give it up to Maka waking up in this game.
Right when you needed him. I mean, I don't know what it is from TSM, but they are reading this game super well, but they don't read this one. A jumping drone. And Maka has 3. Def on that flank, mind blown. I don't know what it is with TSM and Dignitas. They're reading each other perfectly. And now TSM, it's not going to be that 12th. And Dignitas, they suffer heavy casualties. And here in this round, 2 players on light shields. Now Dignitas, 4 players stuck on this A side. It feels like 90% of this is a gamble. They're playing so incredibly smart now with Sabrosa. He's going to stick the TP, but are they ready? It's Ryan around the corner. Ryan with 1, Ryan with 2, and down go TSM as Dignitas have a 4 versus 2 with Rara collecting upon another. Where is the recovery? It's Sabrosa on the flank, and Wardell with a long rotation.
Bro's in a beautiful position, but he doesn't exactly want to wait up for crosses.
Oh no.
He wants to take this on immediately. Wardell takes on Maka. Sabrosa from behind. That shot from Wardell took away the attention from Rara, and Sabrosa was there. Well timed, well approached, but now Ryan is still around, and Sabrosa has no clue. There you go. Ryan with a 3rd.
He's going to meet
Wardell still has the op ready and ready to go. What? Was he moving? Was it aim punch? No clue, but the bullet just goes flying up. In TSM, they dropped the round. I mean, still a 1v2. Would have been a clutch from Wardell at the end, but just that setup was so perfect, at least, so trademark for Wardell to be able to pull that off at the end of things. But Ryan ends up getting a massive 4K for the boys of Dignitas, and overall, just a well-played round.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Dignitas reading TSM like they're in class reading a chemistry textbook. It is 4-player sack on the A site. They're going to be playing retake once more towards this B side. And I guess Dignitas, their name is let's gamble. We'll play retake. We've got the confidence now. And now we're almost knotted up. It's 11-8 here. And TSM on the verge of possibly being reset. Obviously, their economy has been built up heavily, so nothing major to worry about. But Dignitas, they're knocking on the door of TSM. Def making contact, but TSM playing slow. They don't want to walk into another stack here on the B site. So Dignitas, no movement just yet. Neither with TSM. And Ryan on the edge of death here. Now only has 30 HP to work with. But again, TSM super slow. A minute left on the clock. Drone's being sent up to collect information. And look at the crossfires as well from Dignitas on the minimap. Everybody is watching towards short, essentially. 3 players can swing on showers instantly. 3 players can swing on short instantly. I mean, Dignitas have got one deadly setup so far here on this A site. But again, TSM edging closer into the B site as Def is the only one here.
He may be the only one around, but again, for default for TSM, they're just trying to take away as much attention as possible from the A side, and it's going to sacrifice Hazed for it. Nothing done yet. Wardell, he's going to stay around that A site, potentially take on a couple of rotators, but it's indeed not going to happen. It's going to be a full retake for Dignitas as TSM down to 4 and 1 player rotating pretty late into hookah.
He's watching flanks now. Wardell is completely caught out here. Dignitas, they're going straight into the site. Boomer nearly catches Sabrosa. He's stuck in the cubby. They go past each other. Sabrosa, he's got one. Rara with the trait, but he knows where Drone is going to be. I don't know if Drone recognized where Rara was playing at. Hunter Siri to boot, and that's all they've got now, Gus.
That's it. Wardell only gets hit once by his teammates Hunter's Fury, and he's still alive somehow.
Wardell.
And the Hunter Fury comes in big for the assists. What? What a take. And again, of course, that Hunter's Fury is being played out over towards long. He's being played for the post plant to try to take away the person actually defusing. Wardell, the person who was taking on so much action from the A side early on, instead of going back to his usual hookah spot, it was playing up double with Cutler and Long, and it ends up being incredibly successful. What a take from Dignitas, but an even better hold from TSM as they find themselves a 12.
One more round to go, and Dignitas, that economy has been hurting. TSM, had they lost this round, it would have been so beneficial for them. Dignitas nearly had them reset, and they nearly had the round. Wardell through a smoke. Down goes Rara. No trade available. And it's Def. Def to try and light us atop. Maka not too far. It was one play they gave Dignitas that round where they wanted to get so aggressive, and it could be a play here. Recon Bolt's gonna miss, and so is Def. Drone shuts him down, and now they're trying to flush out Maka as he goes down. Wardell's looking to tie us up here. needs to just find 2 kills, 13 bullets, jumping on it, and Wardell closes it out. 13-8 for TSMs. They take map number 1 in convincing fashion to close it out as well in that last round.
It was Dignitas putting up such a big fight
Out in the past 5 games they've played. So this is slated to be a one-sided map, at least in the eyes of TSM. But again, no tape on either of these teams. It's a blank slate in my eyes. It's a blank slate for them both. Who's going to come out on top? Big questions all around here. And TSM not going for the full frenzy meta. Wardell sticking back to that sheriff. Whereas Dignitas, they opt for 3 frenzies. Whatever game TSM seems to play, they seem to always be doing something different. I will say that. Already, Cutler looking for early fights. Nothing going in. Trailblazer to clear out B main. So they are looking for early fights, TSM. They're not going to get anything from that just yet.
It's always the lurkers for TSM that seem to capture all the attention. This time it's Wardell on the front lines. Trying to catch up a pick and a whole lot of noise over towards the B side too, but Dignitas, I mean, they're still very much wary of the fact that TSM, they love to go for fakes, they love to go for these lurks. We saw it throughout the first map too. They still hold down to the 4-man setup on A. They don't want to give that up at all.
Yeah.
But it also could lead to a full retake too. So this is just overall a good setup for them, good conservative setup where they could still stay safe, potentially get some early frags.
Yeah, so what's going on here already is Def is just trying to control this back portion of site where they can have easy access on the retake and try and at least force players on TSM to kind of sit back on the middle of site where it makes it a lot easier for Dignitas because they have those flashes already in the Reyna. Def, he does his job, tries to hold them back as long as he can, gives the info, everyone's rotating, the Killjoy turret sees nothing down towards mid, and now a 5-on-5 retake. These initiators can be huge in delaying and getting info, but Dignitas are getting ready to spur onto the site. Rawatos is out of Lear, and Drone's got the first blood in the retake.
Still not a lot of damage as Dignitas, they're just left completely away outside of Util, and Maka actually goes for that first peek, but Def, well-timed swing, Rara, same thing, in comes He's now in a 1v3, and that is just well-timed from Dignitas as everyone from TSM just goes down off the first contact.
Yeah, great hold as well from Dignitas. They keep all the players on TSM in the back site. Nobody's able to edge out. It's only Cutler stuck in B main, and Dignitas commit a shock dart and paint shell grenades, a smoke even as well to try and flush him out of that position. And TSM, with players surrounding, players coming from every single angle, and you're all congregated in the back site, you've got too many angles to watch and not enough people to watch them. Dignitas take the first round, but TSM, we know what they love to do. They're going to full buy back here and try and contest even more heavily and see what they can get from this one. Nothing really to boast about here. It's TSM going to be walking into 2 players. Once more, Def setting up utility to try and hold them back. Early smoke, but an early push, and there is no paranoia yet to respond as they congregate back into the back site, and they're going to try and hold this down. Both Def and Ryan alone on the site right now, and Nanostorms end up popping. It'll hold them back for now, but again, Dignitas, it's going to be a difficult hold here, and Def takes the first peek. Same thing with Ryan and TSM. They drop players, but they do get one back now.
Ryan is still in the back lines, and Cutler fully knew that. Saw him actually takes one back with a boom pot. Now it's a 2-on-2.
One enemy remains.
Fun time at least off the hole, but oh my lord! Maka with the spam down, gonna be able to get the kill back. And no plant down for TSM. None of that extra cash. Now it's just Cutler relying on the stinger, and Maka comes up huge at the end of things. 2K for Maka, and I mean, Dignitas, they were looking a little bit shaky, but they were still holding their own in terms of a hard 1v1s. But TSM, they had a huge chance off the post plant, but that just got defused immediately.
I mean, again, super solid hold from both Def and Ryan. So Bros are trying to battle hard. TSM now down to just the full sheriff buy. It's literally the same thing they had at the beginning of the first half of Bind, where they lose the first 2, and then they go to 5 sheriffs. And again, it's Cutler, I think, as well, had the light shield. So they're going to do what they can here. Try and take some guns out of the hands of Dignitas. Nothing too major of a loss there. So Dignitas is going to try and turn this one into a bonus. Drone, try and get the ult orb to get his run it back charged up. Maybe they can use that here. But regardless, even if they do end up losing this round, it'll be fully charged up early. So TSM, they do end up getting the run it back online. So Broza, though, tagged down heavily on the sky as he looks for a little more information, but he doesn't get much of it. Dignitas are going to slowly but surely start to gamble back to the A site. They'll leave Ryan just to spot. And TSM edging their way up here. Recon Bolt to clear. No movement yet from Dignitas, and no need to, as Def is going to start to get aggressive. They know the hit is coming, and Maka taking the early fight. There's one player around the corner to swing, and it's Solemn to clean things up here. Blast back to hold them back, and Dignitas with a solid hold so far, as TSM are down to just 4.
Hold at least from Dignitas with a 4-man hold of the sights.
There.
And in they go. Rara, at least with the first pick. He has to be safe off the dismiss. Barely makes it in the back line, but Sabrosa was ready. Som gets one back. And Cutler. Have to look out over towards the heaven area, but still nothing of the sorts. So TSM, they just wanted that spike down Sully. Try to get that economic damage into the hands of Dignitas. But even then, it was, I guess you could say, well executed. They had the right util, but Dignitas heading into this next round, they're still switching up their composition. Usually they've been playing the KJ up in B. It's been a hard controller with really only one player playing around the heaven area and just trying to play in terms of hard rotation. But this time they want to just have as much control as possible on both sides.
Revealing area.
Trailblazer goes in. Sabrosa gonna get early control. Reveals that the majority of these players, I think he at least spotted a guaranteed 2. I don't know if Ryan was in the view of that Trailblazer, so they might not know that there's 3 here. And Dignitas are gonna call early rotations, or at least I think they are. Maka is edging over back towards spawn. Minimal mid control off of the eco here, and Dignitas, they're very aware of the fact that this is gonna be a retake towards this side. Or apologies, the bonus of Dignitas.
Right.
Maka to retake off of the Owl drone, but it's super patient here for TSM. They've got the info they want. They're clearing out all the extremities, and now they can pick and choose where they want to go. Because again, lack of mid control gives Wardell and Hayes here an opportunity to spring onto the B site, where Sabrosa has already cleared out B main.
Again, mid control for TSM has been rarely used thus far, but wow, Som just runs on through. Sabrosa fully flashed, but it doesn't matter.
Headshot.
Som can't get the frag back. Same thing with Maka, and this hold of B is completely knocked down by the ones. Def now on his way back, and not only that, but there's actually a B main lurk, B main flank. Dignitas, they have to find onto so much pressure. What on earth, Sabrosa? You good? I'm not even gonna say 4x3. He totally saw him and just totally looked away, but it's all good. 3v2. Now for the rest of the boys, the TSM over towards the back of site. Still Dignitas laying around the courtyard area. Could still save up these guns, but a slight bit of util. They just got to go for these picks, and Cutler has a beautiful position. I mean, honestly, just these post-plant positions in general have full up. These exits could be big, Sully, though.
Yeah, that's all they're going for. They're trying to keep these players on the site. Def and Rara really trying to put a lot of pressure into TSM, but they do end up escaping. If they could have kept them there, 3 players go down, and that's 5 players have to rebuy back. So the idea is there, at least for both Def and Rara, but because Def ends up staying alive, he'll take a big hit in terms of credits. He's only going to get a K back, but he does have enough to drop a couple of his teammates. So nothing too big yet for Dignitas. They can see the round. It was ultimately their bonus. The TSM only dropping 2 players, nothing too major just yet. Wardell, one off of the knives, is going to try and battle, I think, here for the ult orb early on. Dignitas with their full buy back. Finally, some mid presence. That was the fault in the last round. It's going to be Def taking the early peek, and they leave B site completely empty.
Scanning ahead.
Fury gonna actually tack on a little bit of damage at the back line, but TSM.
It's Rara.
Still a couple of players on the front lines, but in comes Rara. No peek. There you go. Hayes finally gets that swing back. Still going to be able to get another one in terms of damage, but no kill. Wardell quick with it. Only a singular player left for Dignitas. It's none other than Maka having to make the long rotation, and man, oh man, so efficient. In terms of that A main pressure from TSM, and again, Dignitas going for pretty much just an all-out take. Seeing what kind of early picks they can get. But nothing of the sort here, Sully, is now Maka. He's left remaining, just looking for exits, just as the last time.
Info? None of it. Maka definitely in a peculiar position. So Broza, I think, already has his number, sees the barrel. Yeah, Maka at that point just wants to get out with maybe 1 or 2 kills. He'll be lucky if he gets 2. I think 1 was all he could find there, but even then, Sabrosa spots the barrel. Dignitas, full reset now, essentially. Def with the only ability to buy here. The only silver lining I will say is that Def is going to be guaranteed to possibly get the lockdown if he ends up getting a kill, or if Dignitas end up losing their round, if he ends up going down in general. So there's some things that Dignitas will carry on from this round into the next that'll help them moving forward, but it's all TSM, at least written over this round. The light buy from Dignitas. Stingers can be deadly, but the way TSM are playing, despite looking for early fights on, they're playing it completely safely, right? They're taking double swings. They're using 1 to 2 players to swing a position. They're even cleared up most of the obscure angles, ensuring that they're not going to get caught off guard, and even using these initiator utilities to take full map control. A main is theirs. There are 4 players here in rotation. Now a 5th coming in. Assault makes the rotation, but Drone to go in first. Trailblazer to lead the charge. Doors are closed, and TSM now have the site on lockdown.
Dignitas have the side on lockdown, but they still need to fight up over towards that back lane. There goes the showstopper, but actually a dash out. How on earth is Wardell still alive? And Wardell still gets the kill back. And in we go. Def and Maka, both with Deagles, gonna be able to get 2. The Sheriffs work out in their favor, but still 3-on-3. Ryan around the corner. In goes the flash. But even then, double nano swarm covering up the lane. That is just so well done. But even then, the orbital strike is going to take out the lockdown. Dignitas, they had all of their options covered. Again, I just love that setup from the KJ, but again, forced to use out the ulti, and Def still gets the kill back. Hayes and Wardell, last 2 players remaining. Still has a stinger. Same with a sheriff. 15 seconds left. Spike still hasn't gone down. Hayes does get the kill back onto Def. Mako swings. Only gets 1 for his favor. 3 rounds now that Dignitas have not been able to fight back off the initial coverage, but this time it's a little bit different, Sully. But TSM still has all of their options covered.
Really risky swing from Wardell as well. Maybe TSM getting a little bit over eager to finish it off. And Wardell had a free spike plan. It's down to the wire. We've seen plays with Sheriffs that can pop off. I mean, Maka had a 3K in the last map of Bind. I mean, risky swing from Wardell. But at least they end up walking away with it. 4 players go down, heavy reinvestments, and even then, an even bigger one is that lockdown being used. Def ends up using the last to try and close it out, but they don't get it done. Dignitas have now used up one of their most major ultimates here, and TSM, well, the first player to go down is going to be Sabrosa. Def has now got 3 on that charge. It's TSM set themselves up here on A. Once more, the doors go down. The smoke goes up. They have the site for now. The spike is sure to go down. They're going to play the post plant. They do have Cutler playing off of the Hunter Siri, and that'll be big as him and Wardell are congregated back towards A main, where they're going to scout things out, and Dignitas with a 5v4 retake to play against.
Right here.
In terms of ultis, TSM, they have all the options in the world, aka they have all the control. Hunter's Fury. This one gonna be able to do everything, and oh, look at that Molly coming in from hell too. Good lineup. Hayes just drops on in, takes down both Saw and Ryan, and he's so ready. Head on a swivel, make it a 4th. Come on, just get the ace. You know where the last person is. Go for the wide swing. Hayes with an ace. Holds down the site successfully for TSM as Dignitas left again with her head scratching.
Huge play, Hayes. Great side execution. TSM so patient, clearing out every single angle. Sabrosa, I said he's going to struggle with taking B main as that lurk player, but he's doing it phenomenally with the Trailblazer, drawing attention away, and Hayes pivots around the site expertly. First 2 frags, the 3rd is amazing, and then this 4th one, he already knows where the 5th is, like you said, sees the barrel, and he is a well-deserved ace, man. 4-3 TSM. Off of the back of a very reckless hold by Dignitas, and TSM putting on great pressure early on. Here is again Sabrosa clearing out towards B main, only sees 1, but he's putting on pressure here, and that's what matters. It's keeping at least Dignitas on the edge of their seat as they've got no idea where they're playing, but Rara up close with the Sheriff, is Drone around the corner, and while Drone has got the kill, no worries just yet. Dignitas off of this eco. Already down a man in a 4v5. It's Def to try and retake some map control, but Sabrosa ready, watching in case he wants to push.
He's gonna say safe. His shoulder gets spotted. Still the frag back for Sabrosa. Def goes down. And I like that early pressure from Sabrosa. you mentioned that it keeps their opponents on their toes, but it really just leads up to a situation where these players have no idea where TSM is going. Although they see all this util, although they see the pressure, all they can do is frag back. And Psalm, certainly with a chance back. Good pick there, but still one more remaining in the back line. It's going to be Maka. And Sabrosa takes him down with another headshot. That's a 5th round for TSM, and it's looking to become almost routine at this point.
Super simple stuff so far. No one really nearing their ult completion. They do have 2 really big post plants and 2 big site clears, both that orbital strike and that Hunter's Fury. TSM, the more you think about it, they have a perfect agent composition for taking sites, holding sites, and playing the post plants. And it does look like that's what they're doing here. 4 towards the A side once more. Sabrosa always playing that lurk. Hayes will check down towards mid. There are 3 players grouped up. A Paranoia, if they want to, at least from Ryan, but a deep smoke. They are getting aggressive, it feels like, and Ryan's taking a TP into the back site. Hunter's Fury to clear. DIGNITAS are putting a lot of investment in an area that nobody is waiting, and while Def finds the first, he's gonna have to concede the site and try and play with his team for the retake. And it's Sabrosa on this like that needed to go big, but he goes down once more. A Hunter's Fury and an orbital strike to play with on this retake.
Good owl drone. Still gets up the information early, but DIGNITAS not exactly scattered. They're focusing all of their efforts over towards the cat area, but TSM still with the crosses up. Orbital strike not going to be able to catch anything. They can still fight up into that back line of heaven. With cat being broken down, Wardell still on the front line. Smoke going up to TSM, just delaying so much time. So clean from Cutler. Wardell holding down the line. This was a 5v3, and it's a 2v1 now that just gets shut down. TSM. A 6th round in their favor, and DIGNITAS, no matter what advantage they have, it evaporates in a second. Good pressure in the back line from TSM, but they stay patient, and DIGNITAS walks right into their crosshairs.
Huge play from both Wardell and Cutler, and not to mention the use of the orbital strike to get control of that back line's Gus. They take everything for themselves. DIGNITAS were all pushed into one section, and they were crossbars being held. Wardell and Cutler up top. Cutler drops to hell, and then you have Hayes sitting in A main. They play that so well at the disadvantage, and TSM, like I said in the first best of 3, there are 2 ways to play a disadvantage. You either get aggressive or you sit back and wait, and TSM had no business in getting that aggressive, but they did it, and they did it with perfection. DIGNITAS on the back foot, 6-3, with a very light buy consisting of stingers, are trying to battle back, but Sabrosa once more in this lurk, always being a nuisance. Thorn in their side is TSM. They regroup, and they're going to default this one out, trying to feel out the map, knowing DIGNITAS have those lesser guns, and maybe, just maybe, they can bait out another lockdown here by Def.
Again, well played. Not that you even mentioned that, because at this point, DIGNITAS, they're starting to get a little bit more desperate, as now TSM learning mostly that their opponents are a little bit more reactionary at this point, but good trade back actually by Maka. Double hold cat and a double hold mid. Not exactly conventional, but those work out for the trades. Ryan does make a little bit of noise too. Sabrosa knows that he's close, but he walks back into the smoke, trying to get the spray down to Ryan, and now it's a man advantage for DIGNITAS. Or if the plant goes down, the ulti could go up at the same time.
It is.
And cap being closed, they gotta go. The plant will be able to go down. And the rotation, at least from Ryan, is gonna come in at a good time, but the run it back in a great position. Recon bold, and he got it back. Wonderfully done, but they lost control of sight. Def does take back Wardell, still trying to search for another one, and Drone was just waiting on sight, trying to see what he could pull off in a ring around the Rosie type style, and DIGNITAS gonna be able to take down a 4th. So again, good eyes at least. They completely leave the lockdown on its lonesome. The 2 players that were around the garden area just completely boot their way up into heaven, knowing that Ryan A would be up in cat. And not only that, but the spike just about to get planted. They knew that they still had the control back. So all options covered. No way the TSM could at least escape. And just like that, 4-6 score line. DIGNITAS still with a buy back, but their economy still not looking all too great. TSM has more than enough of a economy set up to buy up for the next 2 rounds, and it's still very much efficient. TSM, though, this round, Sully, still focusing their efforts over on A for now, while they still have Sabrosa pulling away attention on B.
It does look like there's a slight tack pause. Can't imagine for either side. Both teams neck and neck. I think TSM maybe just a moment to reset. They definitely are playing those late lurks, and DIGNITAS, they're trying to put a lot of focus in taking down Sub Rosa early on, right? We see a lot of early investments. Def pushing forward, dropping nano swarms, and TSM, that forces them to readjust, because once they lose that presence, once they lose that lurk, they know the jig is up. DIGNITAS can make rotations, and TSM, with this time, probably just, I have no idea who's actually, I think it is actually DIGNITAS' call, so.
It is a technical pause at this point.
Technical pause, okay. Dig tac, okay, so it's a DIGNITAS tactical pause.
Oh, weird. A little bit longer. I think they're just taking their sweet time. I mean, we're used to tactical pauses in certain games being like a minute and a half long, so yeah, certainly we can wait out the time as much as we want. And DIGNITAS finally coming back into things. So yeah, still trying to readjust their setup in a sense, but even with the controller of Def holding down the B side, they still want to early paranoia in that area to potentially get a little bit of a wide swing or just to get some information down, but still nothing of the sort in that area. As TSM, they still held up their early call for A main. Love this from Sabrosa though. He does get a little bit of sound over in B main, but he just boots on back to A. So now DIGNITAS, they're always going to be wary at some point of a rotation back, and TSM, they just need to focus on taking up the site. It's gonna be a full retake too, Sully.
Same exit here for TSM. Smoke down in heaven. Shock dart to try and force players back out of that smoke. DIGNITAS, they're gonna blast down those doors. A smoke ready as well here for Hayes. Player backed up. That's going to be Cutler trying to play with his Hunter Sphere. He's got Wardell as well next to him to try and hold it down. Two players stuck in the site. A third rotating towards Cat. That's Sabrosa, but there's been a lurk set up already. Alarm bot at the ready. They can spin around, but they're going in. They might not notice it. They might go unchecked here. Sabrosa has been revealed. Flashes go in, guiding lights out, and there's the flank, but there are the kills. TSM locking things down. Psalm blast backed in, but he gets nothing for it. 1v3 and 36 HP. It's Cutler to gun him down. No Hunter Sphere needed, and TSM going into the last round are looking good. 7-4 and looking for an 8th now.
TSM, statistically, most of their rounds come in from the defensive side. 67% win rate. But in comparison to what would be their attacking side this time, and in this tournament, it's been 70%. So still very much efficient in just getting these high caliber takes in quick and simple, Sully. It almost leaves DIGNITAS with no time to react, no time to get really all of their chickens in the bunch, because at this point DIGNITAS, they still lay around these sites. They're looking for gambles, and still without a whole lot of util, they have to really stay very conservative in how they use it in the early rounds. They leave them questioning themselves. It's almost like a paranoia, but in the normal sense. But in we go. DIGNITAS going for something a little bit different. Mid control, and they still have eyes over in mid, but it doesn't matter. Wardell with the updraft knives. And that's essentially going to be it. They have full control of the B site. They're covering up the rotations. Wardell still has the knife, still gets the kill, although he's fully flashed. It's just nuts. 2 players remaining for DIGNITAS. They're left scratching their heads. No way they can make their way back, and Wardell is still on the barrels, and the boom bot finds him. 4v2, Sully.
Smoke down towards B main. They're going to try and go for this. They have to. Last round of the half. They have 1 paint shell. They could clear this close corner, but Hayes playing that headshot angle. Hunter Siri invested. Cutler gunning for them. It's Hayes to take down Psalm. The confusion brought by the Hunter Sphere now puts Ryan in almost an impossible, dare I say, 1 versus 4. He does end up using a paranoia, but there's not much he can do here. He's being watched by every single angle that he could imagine. And DIGNITAS, they don't take the half. And TSM, they have a lead 8-4 on the defensive side. Or apologies, the attacking side. That's the least favorite side. And now on the defense, TSM, so far it holds true. No team able to get more than 6 rounds on them, and DIGNITAS just falls short at 4.
It's that crazy stat line that we mentioned with a lot of teams always having at least 1 map where they could just maintain their opponents to a low amount of rounds. TSM with a high amount of efficiency, and just off of this pistol round, I would be remiss to say that this one wouldn't be done and dusted, but DIGNITAS, Again, still with a couple of tricks up their sleeve, especially in this round. They actually want to maintain Psalm over on the other side of the map. Still acting as a rotation, still acting as bait. With a whole lot of noise being made in A main at the moment, they're going to be able to get early ult orb. That's definitely going to help them out within the next 2-3 rounds. Big from Rara. Still trying to take out at least a little bit of contact, but Sully, again, Dignitas, they're still keeping a default, but it's a little bit more noisy than expected.
Yeah. Let's feel like now Salma's just trying to catch players pushing down towards B main. Sabrosa using that Trailblaze to get all the info in the world. A return back tag from the Owl Drum by Maka. Sabrosa still contesting. He's got info, and Rara's on a late lurk. I don't know what their game plan is here right now. They have no control towards B main. It's going to be a blind exit as Rara does end up collecting upon the first kill. He's been fully healed now, overhealed if you will, and even takes down a second. Rara tearing them up on the A site, and Drone gunned down by the Frenzy. Leaves Cutler now in a very tricky predicament, and now Sabrosa left in a 1 versus 5. Does seem like they're again an impossible situation, but for now, Sabrosa gonna try and get something done. You know, just stat pad at this point.
Stat pad. Good win for the exits. There's one player close that he could isolate. And he goes, Sam gets the kill, and there you go. Dignitas still with the 5th, and things again are finally heating up for the boys at Dignitas. We were talking about it earlier on in the game where they still have a decent amount of potential in terms of their takes, decent amount of potential in their individual fragging. We're certainly see it a lot more in Rara, and I'm actually really happy that Dignitas ended up picking him up because, I mean, if you've seen his clips, this guy almost seems robotic. Sometimes he seems a little bit too cold in a sense where he just stops his mouse and just waits for someone to just walk into it. We're seeing some of those situations now where Dignitas, they're trying to isolate scenarios from from TSM to just let them walk into them. So Dignitas, yes, lots of early pressure in terms of noise, but in reality, they're waiting for a bait. They're just waiting for these players to rush on in. Indeed, there you go.
Sabrosa?
Ryan? Sabrosa still getting the kill back up to Ryan. He had the full angle, but Sabrosa's nuts. You may have the best strategy in the world, but when you have frags like that, that's just nuts. 4v4 Sully.
Spins back around. Okay, TSM picking up another man advantage. Color even has a spike in his view. Same thing with Drone here. Next thing you know, Dignitas, a 4v3. Disadvantageous position as Drone getting a little bit more information. Even Cutler doubling back. He's got a Bucky and he's got one to the face of Rara. Drone cleans it up with the Stinger. What has happened here? Dignitas, they might just concede the second round force buy. Def left in a clutch. 1 versus 4 has a chance for 1 at least. Nearly had 2 there as well with Wardell back towards Cats. I mean, Dignitas, a lapse in their judgment, allowing Sabrosa to slip through. Ryan whiffing his shots and Sabrosa with a 180 shot on the Sheriff. So many things went wrong here for Dignitas, and there's so much to pick apart. TSM find themselves somehow, some way, way back into that second round, and they end up picking things there. Jeez, Sabrosa.
Oh, sheesh. Yeah, you gotta feel bad. Certainly not for the picks, because now TSM snagged themselves a 9th, and again, Dignitas, they were about to waltz into at least a little bit of a bonus for them going into this round, and that has just been completely knocked away. I mean, this team just needs a couple of rounds on the board. This team just needs any sort of momentum, and they're not getting any of that at the moment. Good heal up, by the way. Still getting that pressure in, and not only that, but knocking down the gate for the later potential that Dignitas would be able to walk on through.
There.
But Dignitas, again, trying to take mid-control, something that they were attempting to do a little bit earlier on, but TSM, they decided to fight that up immediately. This time we can finally see what the potential is like for Dignitas off the take.
It is going to be just Drone watching that back. You have Cutler sitting on the back site. No movement for TSM. Drone is just very scared. Paranoia goes in. Now Drone realizes they don't have mid control. The smoke goes up to allow them to cross, and all Dignitas are doing are trying to account for the fact that they can't get flanked in market. They're wary there could be a lurk in Drone off of the information, but it's Def that pushes on through. Cutler with a Bulldog. He's got the superior weapon here on the site. Same thing with Sabrosa Spectre. 2 versus 3. It's Ryan who leaps onto the site to finally take down Cutler. They are on their toes, and Psalm knocks Sabrosa onto his butt as he falls down, and Dignitas 2 versus 2 here, Gus. And they have got the
Oh,
weapons.
Psalm.
But here, Psalm, he's got a chance. Hayes spins it back, and it's down to just 1. Ryan on low HP. 10 HP himself. He might get knocked down here, but he's in a 1v1. He's got a chance to win, but Wardell up top. High ground is superior, and TSM find themselves onto double digits.
Can't believe Hayes was actually able to get that first pick, but it came down to Wardell too, and the off angle over in stairs, getting a couple of headshots through the wall onto Ryan to just leave a gust of wind for him to end up going down. So 10-5 scoreline for TSM. They cover up all of their bases, and Dignitas, they're just going to keep force buying every single round anyways.
Yeah.
Or are they?
I think at this point they might need to do a half buy. Again, it's that same economic situation where they had in the first game where they're down 10-5 or 10-6, and they've got to make an investment. It has to be very slight to keep TSM, or at least give them a chance to close out the round. They just want to secure a full buy for the next to at least try and prevent TSM from 12, and that's what they're going for here. 4 play towards this B side. They do have at least the lockdown for the next round, but Cutler takes the early fight. He gets the early kill, and they have the spike as well in their view. There's not much you can do here now if you're Dignitas.
Let's say not much really. Only thing that they could have done in that situation is just try to push out the 1v1s, potentially try to isolate, but that's not really what TSM is allowing. All of these interactions we're seeing from TSM, they're all tradable. Wardell and Sabrosa pushing out together through their smoke. Not only that, but the hold on B early on, B main pressure, that was a double. Even off of the retakes, they always assure that there's always going to be some sort of insurance policy off of a swing. And in this scenario, Dignitas, they fall into the traps again and again. Cutler gets the last kill. TSM at 11. Dignitas, they're finally going to be able to get a buy. Yes, they'll force buy in the next, no issues. But this could just be the dagger into the souls of Dignitas if they lose it out.
All it's going to take is 1 round here for TSM to send Dignitas back. Max money loss here at least provided for Dignitas. Great synergy off of the utility right now for TSM. They look like a whole different beast against Dignitas. Synergy off the utility, swinging off of one another. Great so far, but Dignitas, they need to be a little bit better here. Rara, after having a 25 kill performance on Bind, has fallen down to just 7 here, and Def, he will pick up the first kill. We talked about the lockdown, and they're going to try and contest Def. They know they get rid of him. There is no lockdown available, and he drops a nanostorm to at least prevent them on the push. So Dignitas, they will hold on to it. They regroup back towards the B side. Once more, Cutler and Drone, both the players on this B site, but I even think they themselves are thinking about conceding it as they understand that it's going to be back towards B. They're only 2 players. They're going to play with the rest of their team. Hayes and Sabrosa looking for, again, that early information, but here they come. They're actually going to try and take the peek. Drone down towards spawn. Cutler up in market, wary of mid, however. And Dignitas, there goes a lockdown on top of the lamp, and there's nothing they can do to stop them for now.
Lockdown in, and again, TSM just waiting for their opportunity to go on in with the Seekers out too. Drone. That run it back could have come in absolutely huge, but the spray on through the smoke ended up going massive. Saw him now with a showstopper right on through. Still gonna be able to get the second. TSM all stuck in the back line, and they just get exposed by Som. There he is. Som, we've been waiting for him to pop off all game, and just when his team needs him, just to evade that match point, he comes in huge with a 3K. Now Dignitas with a chance back, proving that they can really get a take going if they've got the right util.
Using up that lockdown. Now TSM though, they themselves have now got a much stronger situation where you've gotten rid of the main ultimates, right? You've gotten rid of the showstopper. No longer a lockdown. Now going forward, TSM, it should be a lot more straightforward to get to that 12th round. You don't have that presence in the back of your mind. Now Rara obviously, or apologies, Psalm obviously a little more closer to his ultimate. Ryan only 1 off of his ultimate as well. Now Dignitas, they understand that the majority of that was caused because of a lockdown and a showstopper. So can they keep the momentum? Hayes will be forced back. Nanostorm forcing him to swing as Def shuts him down. An early kill here for Dignitas. They're winning these early engagements. It's not something we see too often where TS end up losing these early fights as Hayes goes out swinging by himself. It's Dignitas now in a 5v4, and they're playing so calm and collected. They're going to rotate back towards the B side, and there are 2 players. Again, Drone and Cutler to try and hold it back. A Hunter series, all they've really got. And now they've got the info. Sabrosa's cleared on A main. Dignitas are now committed to this B site.
insurance policy and drone, but he has to get that first frag. Great eye, but in comes Cutler. Does get back the Empress in terms of rah-rah, but nothing back for TSM, as now it's a 2-on-4. Wardell gets one pick here, and he can get the knives out. He'll come in huge in just a little bit, but it's the full util setup, too. You have all the nanoswarms over in short.
It's got to be a save here.
It's got to be. They're looking for the exits, too. This is a good setup.
You have the op as well, Wardell. If he can get one kill, he can get the Bladestorm online for the next round as well, possibly. So he can drop the op to someone else and play off of it, and there it is. That's what he wanted. He's going to back out, but look at these exits. Look at the damage. They're going to go for it. There's not enough time, but they're going to try and get the final kill, and they will get the final kill. Had it not been for Ryan staying alive, I thought for sure he was going to go down there. So much pressure, but Dignitas, they take down the final two. I thought that should have been a guaranteed safe setup. Once the Wardell gets the kill, get on out of there.
I was about to say, there might have been just a little bit time on that spike. It was a good attempt off the knives. I mean, even if that round ended up not being won by TSM, Dignitas' economy is still down in the dumps. Yes, Ryan is going to be able to reinvest and toss that down to one of his teammates, but we're not going to be seeing on some of these players, at least, their full util setup. But indeed they are, actually. It's not even that bad. TSM, they were looking at the long run rather than the round right after. So is what it is. Don't really know what the plan was, but we could just look on forward and see what Dignitas is trying to pull off in this round. They leave the spike a little bit back over towards their spawner. They're looking for some early picks here, Sully, and it's the same thing with Wardell, is he's just waltzing up mid. Could be able to catch at least one player off the rotation. There's a couple of players in top mid. Nobody's here trying to watch his back either, with a smoke up in mid. Wardell waiting, gonna be able to get one. One up in top mid, gonna be able to trade. No, Wardell gets it back. 5v3 for TSM, and the double man advantage taken up by Wardell and Wardell alone.
Oh, Hayes as well, finding another down towards A main. It's finally Def to strike back, but even then, it might be too little too late. Two ults charged, the Hunter's Fury and the Orbital Strike. There should be no chance they get a spike plan without being detected here. It is Cutler dancing around towards spawn. He's very cautious, but now he's got Wardell to at least reinforce the fact that anyone could come up mid, and he's going to watch for that angle. Now Cutler can solely focus here back towards B. Wardell, you might get another no. Maka good for the trade. Now Cutler's got to spin back because he understands the presence, but he's hiding. He's waiting. 25 seconds left, and Cutler takes the fight, but he has to back away. He's going to try and hold this down by himself. 2 versus 1 essentially for him, as both Hayes and Drone need to make hasty rotations to help and support their teammate.
Oh no, the Orbital hitting in the corner. They were just trying to cover up that option. Still, Def just has to go. Cutler is there. 10 seconds left. I mean, he had so many players on him anyways, and not only that, but he was just in a bad position. Dignitas left scratching their heads again, because off of that mid take just from Wardell alone, they were already left off of so much util. Just their smokes end up just getting dissipated away. And Sully, I mean, if you put things into a grand scheme, Dignitas, they were completely neutered in terms of their potential for takes.
Well, at least not Dignitas. They won't be as neutered. Def can get the ult orb. Same thing with Maka here to get them both the Hunter's Fury and the and the lockdown. But such a heavy fight down towards A main. Hunter's Fury even invested. Sabrosa, does he check this corner? He could get one. He could get two, but he's only gonna get one. Def in the corner. It's traded back by Hayes, but Rara, when they need him most, comes up clutch. 3v3. Both the lockdown and Hunter's Fury charge up for Dignitas moving forward. But at least TSM, a good chance to close it down, and Rara on top of his game shuts down Cutler to give Dignitas the man advantage. Smoke down towards mid to try and fake presence, but Salma's going to slip through. They're looking for something. It's only drone on the B site. It's him and Wardell left in a clutch.
They split up the sites to Wardell. Just sitting alone in hell, waiting to see what the approach would be, with Dignitas having control of the entire map at this point. I kind of like this from really both players. Allowing players to just walk into their crosshairs just to make it easier for the rotation back, but a double drop is going to work perfectly in their favor. Oh, Psalm, that is just wonderful. Beating out the reaction from Wardell. Crosshair placement had to be immaculate too. 7 to 12. Might be an 8 to 12 drone. Gonna have to pull off a miracle. He has all the util he would want. As that blaze wall, the double flashes. D gonna use the blaze wall early. That flash could come from anywhere, and indeed he drops. Not a singular player in hell, and that's now drone using up that blaze wall. He can't cover up the spike. Instead, he just has to go for it. Not only that, but the paranoia and a triple swing. Sully is gonna give Dignitas in 8th round. Rara goes big. Now TSM again. They're going to be left off in a little bit of a worse for wear by. I mean, a couple of sheriffs down the line at best. Because they just have to maintain things very simple. But I do like this take from Dignitas. As much early map control as possible. They made a lot of space. And TSM fighting early. They just needed the trades.
Yeah, now Dignitas with this 4 ultimates charged up. Some of the most crucial ones. They could even get 5 out of 5 here. Rara only needs 1 kill or just get the ult orb even. I think he's confident enough to get the kill here. TSM with Eriko. They're going to try and get aggressive. They can isolate a 1v1 against Solm here with Wardell. If he could find that kill, would be huge. But TSM, he will take control. Drone drops the hot hands. Sabrosa to clear out the top of Catwalk as he does get the information. And Hazed sitting back just a little bit. It's Rara up close. Checks the cubby, sees nobody there. Adele as well has so much presence down towards the side of B main. But a shock dart to try and force, okay, Hazed out of position. Actually takes him out of the round. 4 versus 5, and Dignitas playing patient with that early pressure and the knowing of Sabrosa being there and the control that they've got. They're going to try and go back, and Rara even punishes Sabrosa for that peek. Now Wardell, he wants a fight. He only gets 1, and now TSM, I think they give up this round here as Drone's the only one here on B.
Last player standing.
It's funny, right? Dignitas, they haven't exactly been ones to get too many interactions around the map whenever they actually get a take going, but this time with control of Cat, they end up getting the 2 frags back. This time leaving TSM. The ones really relying on what would be a fat rotation back, or just a full retake, but still getting nothing of the sort. Folks, it's 9 to 12 as now TSM, they do have their rifles back. Looking at the ultis now, Sully, it's full down the line for Dignitas, and just 2 in the back at TSM, but they're very important. Hunter's Fury and the Orbital Strike.
You know, big stuff here is mainly, or specifically for Dignitas, is that lockdown, that showstopper, and that Hunter's Fury. I mean, they are looking super, super good so far. Dignitas. It's all good.
Never mind. Yeah, it was a little bit different on the other scoreboard. No, it ends up actually being just the more aggressive ones in a sense. The knives back. Should be fun to watch. Same thing with the Seekers that would come in big a little bit later on in the round just to try to isolate a couple of situations. But otherwise, yeah, nothing much for that post plan. I was anticipating that Hunter's Fury and the Orbital Strike, but it was wrong. So still now TSM, still low on options in terms of ultimates, but still with a little bit different positions. They actually want to fight mid this round.
Trailblazer going down. Drones will end up meeting. Now, who gets the more information? Cutler can peer out. He won't be able to catch Rara, who's hiding around that box. And TSM with the info and the push down from Sabrosa. He's going to try and catch these players mid-rotation. Wardell's holding the angle off the operator as well. He's got a Bladestorm to fall back on as well now. The lockdown available, and that's going to be huge. Paranoia to force him off the angle here, though. Set up now by Ryan. As in it goes, and Wardell, he's still trying to fight the angle. Lockdown can go down 100% now, and Wardell, he needs to go big here. He needs at least a single frag. They've got no more flashes to force him away and Seekers to push them back. It's a great delay here as Sabrosa comes up big with an ultimate. But still, they can't shut down the lockdown. Finally, Wardell off the second shot, and Sabrosa goes down and Market TP into the back. It's Wardell that now needs to hold it back. There's one player with them, and it's Drone. But here they come, Dignitas. 3 versus 4, and 15 seconds left to get onto the site.
In comes Drone, has the front line, still Wardell has to come up big, going for a no-scope, not going to be able to get the kill. Instead, Psalm with the classic jumping on in. Snags down Wardell, now it's a 1v2 for Hazed. Hayes spots one jumping through, knows that there's one on the right side. Could be covered up by Lev, but still nothing. He has that information too, nobody in corner. Only has a stimmy, but that would just be able to help him out in terms of the spray. The alarm bot catches him too. Defuse, nobody on the right side. He's gonna come into a huge surprise on the left. Saw him with a third. Sully, it's come down to this again. TSM, a good setup in terms of the hold early on, but Dignitas, they continue to hold W on site, clearing out all their angles, and this time they went out the battles. Can Dignitas do this?
They certainly can. TSM going for a half buy here. Dignitas can easily get onto 11 rounds. Now TSM, all it's going to take is one mess up. That's all it's going to be needed here for Dignitas. They have used every single ultimate. Unless Def mines 4 kills, they won't get another lockdown for a minute now. No presence on those ult orbs as well. Now it's TSM. No early fights being taken. They're playing so passive. And Sabrosa, he's done the same thing. Trailblazer out towards Cat, but nothing this time around. Very patient with Wardell's Bladestorm being activated. They're going to hope that he can get something crazy now, as they need a momentum swing here. It's all in the hands of Dignitas, as TSM going into what could possibly be the 24th round. They're going to have their last full buy. And Dignitas, same thing as well, but they've got ults charged up, and that's the big thing. Wardell will be able to evade the boom buff for now, but Dignitas are playing so patient. Presence down towards mid averted, and they have that control. They know that for a fact. And TSM, it's up to Hayes here on this A site, as things are starting to get dicey here. Dignitas moving forward, and Hayes needs to get a pick.
Oh boy, Hayes as a sheriff, and he's ready to pop. Good runaway too with a molly just to try to cover up the smoke. This is such a good off angle. Gonna be able to get one, make it 2, potentially a third. Hayes going absolutely nuts, putting his team back in a man advantage. In comes the take though. Sabrosa up top, Cutler through the smoke, snagging down some. 25 seconds left. They're still going a little bit faster than we were anticipating. Try to close that gate. The Stingers, the Sheriffs, they all come in big. TSM gonna win out the set against Dignitas 2-0. And what was an eco?
Taking it 13-10 in 2-0 fashion to advance to the quarterfinals. TSM, what a huge play from Hayes to drop his own smoke and to try and dance around it with a sheriff.